What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Super Quantum deck profile. So I'm really excited to do some for you guys because this deck is an extremely fun deck to play that we just got some awesome support for out of Duelist Advance. And the best part about this deck is it's actually based on Power Rangers. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can come part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon in the description below for all those awesome rewards. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're playing 3 copies of Black Lair. Black Lair is definitely a 3 of the build, and an awesome new card we just got out of Duelist Advance. With the ability, when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can actually discard one other card, and if you do, special summon this card in your hand. And if this card is special summoned, you can special summon a Super Quantum Mech Beast XZ monster from your X deck using this card you control as a material, and is treated as an XZ summon. And if you do, attach a Super Quant monster from your graveyard to it, which is a great effect to get the exact layer that you need under one of your Super Quantum Mech Beasts, while also basically summoning this card instantly out to your side of the field and making an XZ summon. This card also has the ability, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can actually add a Super Quant spell from your deck to your hand. We then play 3 copies of Blue Lair. Blue Lair is an amazing 3 of the build because this card is basically the Stratos of the deck. And when this card is normal or special summon, you can actually add a Super Quant card from your deck to your hand, except another copy of this card. And the best part about this card is it's actually a Psychic level 3 monster, meaning we can summon it out with E-Telly. We then play 3 copies of Fairy Zetan. Zetan is really good as a 3 of the build because this card makes XZ summoning so easy in this deck. With the ability, if you control a Super Quant monster, you can and this card's in your hand, you can actually special summon this card from your hand, then make this card's level the same as one Super Quant monster that you control, which is a great ability to be able to use to instantly get 2 monsters on your side of the field with the exact same level. You can also tribute this card and send a Super Quant card from your deck to the graveyard, except a dark monster, to special summon a Super Quant monster from the deck, except another copy of this card, which is a great ability to be able to use. We then play 3 copies of Fairy Alphen. Fairy Alphen is still definitely a 3 of in the build. With the ability of once per turn, you can actually target a Super Quant monster that you control, and all face-up monsters you currently control become that level of that monster. And also tribute this card to reveal 3 Super Quant monsters with different names in your deck. Your opponent randomly picks one to special summon, and you send the rest to the graveyard, getting you a monster on your side of the field, while also sending 2 Super Quants to the graveyard, which is pretty cool. We then play 2 copies of White Lair. White Lair is great as a 2 of in the build. I did consider actually playing 3 copies of this card, but I feel like 2 is actually enough. With the ability, you can actually send 1 non-light Super Quant monster from your hand or face from field to the graveyard to special summon this card from your hand in defense position. And when this card is normal or special summon, you can actually send a Super Quant monster from your deck to the graveyard. And if you do, this card's attribute and level become the same as that monster's. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can actually add a copy of Fairy Alphen from your deck or graveyard to your hand, which is a great ability to instantly grab your copy of Fairy Alphen. We then play 2 copies of Red Lair. Red Lair is amazing, but again, 2 copies is absolutely enough for this card. This card is the ability, if you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand, which is a great ability to be able to use, but we already have cards like Black Lair that instantly bring themselves out to your side of the field, which is why I'm just playing 2 copies of Red Lair. But this card also has the ability, when this card is normally special summon, you can target a Super Quant card in your graveyard and add it back to your hand. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target a Super Quant monster in the graveyard and special summon it, but it cannot activate its effects. We then play a single copy of Green Lair. Green Lair is a really cool 1 out in the deck. And when this card is normally special summon, you can special summon a Super Quant monster from your hand. And when this card is sent to the graveyard, you can discard a Super Quant card and then draw a card. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom's definitely a 3 of in the build to basically just stop your opponent from touching the deck. We then play 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird. Droll is definitely a 3 of in the build to basically just stop your opponent from touching the deck for the rest of the turn. We then play 3 copies of Fluros. Fluros is amazing just to help us dig in the deck for the exact card that we need. It's an awesome hand trap this format. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Called by the Grave. Calm of the Grave is definitely a 1-of in the build to basically just stop your opponent's hand traps while you're going in for all of your plays. Then like a single copy of Crossset Designator. Crossset Designator is amazing in the deck to basically play alongside your copy of Call By to just stop your opponent's hand traps. We lay a single copy of 1 for 1. 1 for 1 is amazing to help us bring out either of our fairy monsters to our side of the field, which is so cool. We lay a single copy of Super Quantal Mech Ship. This card is definitely a 1-of in the build because this card helps us bring out our copy of our Super Quantal Mech King Magnus, which is so cool to instantly bring it out using this card. This card lets us discard a card and then target a Super Quantum monster you control and special summon from your X deck a Super Quantal Mech Beast XZ monster with the same attribute as that monster that you control by using him as an XZ material. And this special summon is treated as an XZ summon. You can also send this card from the field spell zone to the graveyard and then target 3 Super Quantal Mech Beast XZ monsters with different names you control and are in the graveyard, and then special summon out a copy of Super Quantal Mech King Great Magnus from your X deck. And if you do, attach the targeted monsters to that monster as a material when it's XZ summoned, which is a crazy powerful effect to instantly bring out our copy of our Great Magnus. Then lay a single copy of Alphen Strike. Alphen Strike is really good as a 1-of in the build because if you control 3 or more Super Quantal monsters with different names, you can shuffle as many cards your opponent controls as possible into the deck. Then your opponent special summons 1 monster from their X deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. And also banish this card and a copy of Fairy Alphen from your graveyard to activate a copy of Super Quantal Mech Ship from your deck. We then play 2 copies of Layer 19. Layer 19 is great as a 2-of in the build, and this card is so cool, and it actually has 3 different effects. The ability that you can actually target an attack position monster on the field, change defense position, if you control a Super Quantum monster, special summon a Super Quant monster from your deck with a different original attribute from the monsters that you control in defense position, or set a Super Quant trap from the deck, and it can be activated this turn, which is a pretty cool effect. We then play 3 copies of E-Telly. E-Telly is great as a 3-of in the build to basically just use this card to bring out our copy of Blue Layer and search out anything that we need. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start with a single copy of the Super Quantal Mech Sword Magnus Slayer. This card is really cool to be able to use your copy of your King Great Magnus with the ability to target a Super Quant XZ monster you control and equip this card to it in a gain stack equal to its own rank times 100. Also, it can do piercing damage, which is crazy, and during your battle phase, you can send this card to the graveyard, and the monster that was equipped with this card can actually attack 3 times during each battle phase this turn, which is awesome to help us go in for game with our copy of our King. We then play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is definitely a 3-of in the build, and basically just stop your opponent's monster effects and also lock down entire columns of spells and traps. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start with 2 copies of Super Quantal Mech King Great Magnus. Great Magnus is really good as a 2-of in the build. With the ability, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon out a 3 Super Quantal Mech Beast XZ monsters with different names from your graveyard, and this card gains effects based on the amount of materials attached to this card. If it has 2 materials, once per turn during either player's main phase, you can detach a material in this card to shuffle 1 card on the field in the deck, non-targeting. If it has 4, it's unaffected by other card effects except Super Quantum cards, basically turning into a towers, and if it has 6, then your opponent cannot add cards from their deck to their hand by card effect, basically turning this card into a Thunder Dragon Colossus that's also a towers and can non-targeting shuffle a card off the field. We then play 2 copies of Luster X. Luster X is great as a 2-of in the build. It has the ability, cannot attack unless it has a material, which all of our different Super Quantal beasts actually share that ability. And this card has the ability, once per turn, you can detach a material from this card and target 1 effect monster on the field and negate that face-up monster's effects until the end of the turn, and all of your different Super Quantal beasts actually can activate their effects during either player's turn if they have the correct layer as a material, which is a really cool ability. And they all also share the ability of once per turn, you can attach a Super Quantal monster to this card once per turn. We then play 2 copies of Magna Liger. Magna Liger is great in the deck as a 2-0 because this card has the ability that you can detach material on this card, target one monster on the field, and destroy it. We made a single copy of Ouroboros. Ouroboros is basically a Book of Moon, which is why I play this card as a 1-of in the build. We then play a single copy of Grand Pulse. Grand Pulse is great to just basically pop our opponent's back row, and it's a really cool 1-of in the deck. We play a single copy of Zeus. Zeus is great just to help us basically board wipe the field just in case we need to. We play a single copy of Typhon. Typhon is awesome in the deck as a 1-of as well. Basically just use this card as a skill drain for 3,000 attack point monsters and a bounce. We made a single copy of Underworld Goddess. Underworld Goddess is great basically just to use this card as an out for towers like boss monsters. We made a single copy of Megaclops. Megaclops is actually crazy powerful and kind of sort of like a hidden boss monster with this deck. And this card comes out at 4,000 attack points and requires 3 XZ monsters to make this card. It's unaffected by other monsters' effects except those of XZ monsters, cannot be destroyed by battle except with XZ monsters, and can target 1 XZ monster in the graveyard and 1 card your opponent controls and special summon that monster from the graveyard. And we do attach that opponent's monster to it as a material. Also for the rest turn, any damage your opponent takes is halved, and you can only use the effects of this card once per turn. We made a single copy of Neo Super Quantal Mech King Blaster Magna. That is a very long name. This card has the ability. This Link Summon card cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects, and each time a Super Quantal XZ monster with a different name from the cards you control is special summoned from the extra to the zone this card points to, draw 1 card. And if a face-up XZ monster this card points to is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can actually special summon a Super Quantal monster from your deck with the same attribute as one of those XZ monsters, which is a pretty cool ability to be able to use. And then a single copy of SP Little Knight. SP Little Knight is great as a 1-of in the build. Basically just use this card as a double interruption. And then finally a single copy of IP, because we can basically go over a copy of SP or a copy of Underworld Goddess using this card during the opponent's turn. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played a Super Quantum deck before, you should definitely give this deck a try, and it's so fun to be able to play, especially now that we have Black Lair, which to me looks a lot like Fenrir, and even has the stats of Fenrir, because it has 24/24, and it's a level 7, which is kind of weird, but it's still pretty cool. So that's it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can come part of our notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.